Hey YouTube, welcome back to another History Teacher Reacts video of Mr. Terry. So continue my search for historical knowledge found here on YouTube. Alright, today's video we're going back to simple history. This video caught my eye because of kind of where I'm at actually in my teaching right now, and that is the French Revolution. And one of the things I get asked, because it comes up, is about the guillotine. So the guillotine, of course, was a tool used to behead people that was famously used extensively in the French Revolution, which is where I'm at in my classes right now. And there's always that student or something, maybe it's you, that was like, you know, has some kind of comment that you have heard about. Did you know that, you know, after your head gets cut off, that, you know, your head and body can survive technically for X amount of time? And it's always something that comes up, and I know it's very morbid, but kind of interesting. So anyway, Simple History apparently did a video that says, how long did a person stay alive after being guillotined? Now, I've heard of accounts, even like from the French Revolution, with medical examiners that were there on hand for like actual beheadings and studied it. Like the head would keep blinking or looking around for like a few seconds or something. But anyways, it'd be interesting to see this, and I don't know what context if they're actually going to talk about it being used in the French Revolution, but that's what kind of caught my eye and drew me to this, is the timing of this. Alright, but we're going to check this out in just a second. If you like this original video, make sure you go down below in the description, and a link to it will be there. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to Simple History, they're awesome, they do great things. And if you haven't subbed to my channel, I'd love to have you around and be a part of our community. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. Ugh. Already creepy, right? Decapitated heads. Plus, you know, it's been a weirdly common thing in history of when you decapitate someone, you also display their head, either as a trophy or probably mostly as an example to others to fall in line. Oh!
How long did a person's head stay alive after being guillotined?
Perfect! Perfect segue. Love it.
Beheading as a form of execution has been around for centuries.
Sure.
By 1792, during the time of the French Revolution, it had become a highly efficient and quick form of execution in the shape of the now famous guillotine.
Yeah. So 1792, that's when it came around. Joseph Guillotine, I believe is his name, the guy credited for it, and was designed to be an humane and egalitarian way of executing people in the French Revolution. Humane because seemingly it is painless, because it is very quick and swift. And I had heard about this before, that one of the reasons they wanted a device to cut someone's head off more efficiently was from the fact that classical beheadings often was, you know, someone had an axe and cut you over as you leaned over a stump or something. But I've learned that it actually is not easy to potentially behead somebody with an axe with one stroke. That sometimes it can take multiple strokes, which obviously is even gorier and more frightening than anything when it comes to cutting someone's head off. So yeah, so 1792, the French Revolution started in mid-1789, so they were doing all these executions for a couple years, and they're like, all right, this is the way to go.
King Louis XVI himself signed the bill that made the guillotine the official method of execution. The guillotine was a tall wooden structure first used in revolutionary France for beheading someone using a heavy slanted blade that suddenly dropped down a set of vertical grooves.
They slanted it too so that it cuts easier, because if it's just flat, I guess that also it can stop the motion, so it's meant to do that as well.
Would usually chop the condemned person's head off in one clean action, whereupon the severed head would unceremoniously drop into a basket below. Dr. Joseph Ignace Guillotine, who it was named after, claimed that the guillotine made execution as painless as possible.
We at least think, right? Because no one has ever survived a beheading, but all of us, what we would think, would assume that it's painless, but we don't know for sure.
However, later on the device was also known as Madame la Guillotine, La Dame, the Lady, La Veuve, the Widow, Le Rasoir National, the National Razor.
National Razor, that's what I heard, the National Razor. I think that's the best name of all of them.
But was the execution by it truly painless? There is a famous story about the execution of Charlotte Corday by the
Ooh.
guillotine in
Here we
1793
go.
during the French Revolution. Just after she had been beheaded, a member of the crowd leapt forward and slapped poor Charlotte across the face to see if she was still conscious. It's reported that her face then blushed at the indignity of being slapped. There are even
But
stories...
how do you know if it's from the indignity of being blushed? What if it's just a natural reaction? Still, if it reacting in general is a pretty interesting thing.
Stories of how heads blinked after being guillotined.
Yeah.
Antoine Lavoisier was a French scientist at the height of the French Revolution in 1794. He was condemned to death during the Reign of Terror and supposedly agreed to blink after his head was guillotined.
By the way, the Reign of Terror was the part of the French Revolution that conducted the most guillotinings. I guess it's from July 1793 to July 1794, basically a calendar year, where I believe the estimation is in that fairly close to a calendar year, there were 40,000 executions by guillotine in that year alone. In the that's the height of, from what I understand, of the timing of these executions during that. All right, so you got a scientist that got guillotined, and I guess in a way is like, hey, I'm getting guillotined, this sucks, but maybe I can be of scientific use, and I'll be a test subject. Oh gosh, let's see what happens. Let me go back that 5 seconds. I kind of talked over the setup.
During the Reign of Terror, and supposedly agreed to blink after his head was guillotined,
Okay.
as one last experiment for science. His servants noted that Lavoisier blinked up to 15 seconds after the execution.
Wow.
The
That, okay. If that's a conscious thing, what it sounds like it is if he's blinking. 15 seconds is a long time. Go ahead and count off. Seriously. 15 seconds. That is a long time to still be conscious and aware of your surroundings. That really is a long time.
There are many stories like this claiming that lucid decapitation or consciousness exists momentarily after beheading, and though these stories are based on real people and real events, they are most likely exaggerations or anecdotes that have become embellished over time by countless retellings. However,
yeah, because you know, like, it may be like 3 seconds, and then of course if someone that is there is thinking, oh my gosh, this is 5 seconds, and they tell somebody, and then it becomes 7 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. It seems like something that could really be exacerbated, but still.
It's often been wondered by scientists how long the head keeps on functioning after it's been guillotined from the body. One of the chief reasons for the introduction of the guillotine was that it was deemed to be very humane, but some factions in the medical community were seriously questioning this. Dr.
Why?
Samuel Thomas Summering theorized that in fact a decapitated head could continue to live and feel for up to a full 15 minutes after being guillotined, and therefore the suffering was worse than death by hanging.
Wait, let me go back. 15 minutes that you could have feeling, but your brain can't process it. What? I want to hear that.
Minutes
again.
after being guillotined, and there could continue to live and feel for up to a full 15 minutes after being guillotined, and therefore the suffering was worse than death by hanging.
So what would you be feeling though? Like a pain in your neck or just everywhere?
But Dr. Jean Célideau, a leading pioneer of modern-day medicine at the time, counter-argued that the difference between killing a person or a butcher killing an animal by severing its head resulted in the same effect: immediate death and total end of life. Others, such as Pierre-Jean-Georges Cabanis, argued that victims did not suffer once guillotined because the nape of the neck is where death can be caused instantly in people and animals. The twitches in the severed heads were, in his opinion, purely mechanical muscle movements without consciousness.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it'd be nicer if they had lung capacity and could speak and actually, like, say, oh, this doesn't hurt, my head's cut off, but I have no feeling. Of course, that's not possible without connection to the lungs, right? I wonder if they did somehow make noise. I don't know how you could, I guess.
Documented cases of animals like chickens, cockroaches, frogs, snakes, and praying mantises surviving for a long period of time after they've been decapitated. For example, there are many accounts and videos of rattlesnakes that have been beheaded and still have been able to bite people with their head.
Jeez.
Because the guillotine was used in France all the way up until 1977, there has been
Yeah,
scientific...
that's crazy. I had heard that. 1977. If I remember hearing this right, not only was that person executed by guillotine, I don't know if that person had chosen that, but I believe it's the last capital punishment that France ever did. They banned it after that. And I think, I'm not positive. I thought I'd heard that. The making, interestingly, of such a famous part of French history was also the final execution done was also by guillotine. 1977. That's not long ago.
research carried out using more advanced methodology on actual guillotine human heads. It has been widely reported that sometimes you will see some eye and mouth movements from a guillotined head, but today scientists are mostly convinced that this is just involuntary reflex actions that linger on in the aftermath.
Perhaps.
But still doubt and conflicting reports linger about this whole issue. One of the most compelling accounts of consciousness being said to still exist for a significant amount of time after being guillotined was in 1905. Henri Languille was executed by the device in Orleans, France. Dr. Gabriel Boriot observed that the decapitated head was still twitching, and when he called out the man's name, his eyes looked upwards and stared directly at the doctor.
Okay, so this sounds a little bit more interesting about things that may not necessarily be like just reactionary, that there's attention being drawn, right, to that. So head off, name, and then looking up at it. Okay.
It was claimed that this lasted for between 25 to 30 seconds. Though later, in 1939, the Journal of the American Medical Association thought Boriot was exaggerating his account of what happened, as other witnesses that had been present at the execution said life only seemed to last for a maximum of 10 seconds, and that the man's reactions were less pronounced. Today, scientists agree that once the victim is guillotined, the separated head and the body dies from a combination of things: shock, blood loss, loss of blood pressure, and anoxia, which is the total depletion of the level of oxygen within the body. The separated body, as such, lives for about another 60 seconds until the heart finally stops beating. As for the decapitated head, scientists say that it can technically have enough oxygen stored for metabolism to continue for about 7 seconds, though parts of the body may live on for a very short time after being guillotined.
And that would make sense, because the blood, your brain function, yeah, there's reserves, but other functions still have, twitchable, mechanisms that way.
The catastrophic effect of being decapitated means that any consciousness would be extinguished almost instantly. So for about 2 to 3 seconds, the brain may still be functioning, but any intelligence would be in a fixed, unresponsive, comatose state, unaware of anything. But there has still not been conclusively proven evidence one way or another if consciousness really remains significantly after decapitation. Maybe in time we'll find out what really happens in those short moments before life is extinguished.
How would we know, I guess, right? Oh, God. Oh, he's back.
Hello, Simple History fans. Don't
Hello.
forget to subscribe and click the notification bell for more history videos.
He's going to come back, isn't he?
Hey guys, check out this Simple History merch on...
Got the creepy, Renaissance Middle Ages mask the doctors wear to put spices in the beak, what looks like a beak that would protect them from germs and stuff. That is not, by the way, off topic, but what you would want to see if you're on your deathbed. This is the doctor with the scariest mask ever created, leaning over you, trying to work on you or something. Also, they have merch for the different characters they've talked about.
Teespring. There's t-shirts, mugs, stickers, phone cases, and much more.
That's cool.
Link in the description below.
Very cool. Cool. Yeah, definitely check all their stuff out. Love that channel. They're so cool. All right, well, anyway, I just, again, thought this would be kind of interesting to look at, see if we can learn some more things. A couple more stories I hadn't heard of that they kind of came in there. But yeah, I'm surprised. I wonder if there are a lot more records, too. With the French Revolution, it being such a common thing to use the guillotine, it seems like there could be a lot of accounts. I know a lot have come out of that, of potential awareness or some kind of reactions by these severed heads. Earlier I said that the guillotine was seen as egalitarian. What I kind of meant by that was, and what was supposed to be, I guess, known by that was, yes, it was supposed to be a humane thing. It was a seemingly painless, efficient killing method, but they would use the guillotine, egalitarian in the fact that they would use the guillotine for any type of people, high class, low class. It was just, if you were an enemy of the revolution, you got the same punishment as everyone else. And I don't know if that's supposed to give moral points or something for that sort of thing, that it was all similar in the way as execution. But I mean, I'll take the dying out of execution for that as well. But all right, well, anyway, maybe you thought that was interesting there. Kind of a little bit morbid, but morbid curiosity is a natural trait, I guess, right? Anyway, all right, awesome. Yeah, if you liked the video and you haven't, definitely give it a like, and then sub if you haven't subbed to Simple History. They're awesome. They make great stuff, and awesome. All right. Okay. With that, just on the way out, thanks to everyone that's been supporting the channel through things like Patreon. Thank you for doing that. That gets you at least instant or access to vote in polls that get featured on this channel. I really support everybody that's been supporting on Patreon. Thanks to channel members, people that have been joining the channel as well with those donations that have gone that way to help keeping this channel live and supporting history education that way. It's very important, and I really appreciate that. But thank you first and foremost just for being here, for watching the video, and being just a supporter again of history and history education. All right, we'll go ahead and end here, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.